Hello and welcome to episode 121 of TNA Top 10 for October 19th, 2025. I'm your host, T Weave. With me, as always, are Andrew and Allison Faye. How's it going, fellas?
I
Hi.
was rude enough to leave my television on because the baseball is going to start here in a minute. Sorry, Terry.
Oh, there'll be plenty of baseball talk today, as you can
Yeah.
see on the graphic here.
Yeah.
And let me
So
tell you,
hi. Go ahead.
every week, ChatGPT gets 90% of what I need it to do beautifully. And then that last little part, I'm like, you've done this like 10 times already. Why are you struggling so much? That Willie Mays picture there, that was a tough.
Well, yeah.
Oh well, I could
Oh
do it
well.
myself, right? It would be way,
Nah, it's more
way
fun this way.
worse. I'll try 1 week. I'll have a bunch of stick figures and stuff.
Lex is available for hire. He does like to
Oh,
draw. Yeah.
mm.
Then everybody would look like trains, but whatever.
Well, maybe we do a train list at some point.
His
Invite
birthday we should
invite Lex on the show.
his birthday we should do a top 10 like for his Thomas trains. He would lose his shit. He would be so excited.
Oh man,
Yeah,
the
Burlington
first
Northern Santa
PG
Fe.
episode.
Yeah,
Burlington
yeah.
Northern and Santa Fe used to run through Scottsbluff and Gehring, Nebraska. I could tell
Oh.
you, if you grew up in a train town, you're
Mhm.
not necessarily fans of trains because they're going to stop you and make you late everywhere you need to be.
So,
And
fun
he
fact,
used to
a
just see
train ran
trains.
through my backyard. So, I grew up with trains. Yeah, there was
Wow.
to this day, we go home and Lex stands outside to watch the trains.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Reminds me of the movie Brewster's Millions, where he's in the miners and they had to delay the game so the train could go through.
Yeah, so this is a true story. I grew up in Western Nebraska, as some of our listeners and viewers know, and some do not. And so coal was transported from Colorado and Wyoming across the country before we got green and shit around here in the United States. And so Burlington Northern, Santa Fe, and the Union Pacific were two railroads that ran through this sleepy little town in Western Nebraska. 100+ cars loaded with coal was not uncommon, stopping your ass at a train track. Lex would love it.
Yeah.
Those of us that grew up there absolutely hated it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
Sorry.
Awesome.
I'm sitting
I
here
never
talking
named
to
my damn
everybody.
train
Oh,
Thomas. I
know
named
you
my
are.
train, "Would you hurry up already?" That's what I called my train in Scottsdale.
Yeah, I
Would
understand
you
that.
hurry up already?
And Lex would fill his entire camera roll with pictures. So, yeah.
oh man.
I mean, it's crazy. And they, it used to be, does this one have a caboose or not? Like, because
Yeah.
there were trains, they got away from having cabooses.
Yeah.
And how many engines did they have? Sometimes they had 3 and 4 engines to pull this 110 loaded down train. Anyway.
So, yeah.
You never know what you're going to learn on this show. I'm just full of surprises. And by the way, I still hate trains and having to stop at train crossings. I don't hate trains. I hate train crossings. About like, I don't hate my car. I hate traffic. You get it? Yeah, it's about like that. Terry, what about traffic? Do you know anything about traffic?
Well, I'll
No.
tell you one thing. I was grateful for a train bridge today because I was Cyrus and I went over. Well, both of my boys and I went over an hour west of us to a family picnic we had. We do it like once a year, and my uncle said we have it the day after the Alabama-Tennessee game every year. I'm like, okay, I'll note that because I don't look forward to that game like most of these people do. But anyway, so we're coming back, and we see this train barreling by. Luckily, it was on a train bridge, and we just went right under it because I also hate waiting for the train.
Yeah, I mean, it's inconvenient as can be. And why in 2025 do people still try to beat the train? Don't do that. Don't do that. This public service announcement is not brought by whatever organization told you not to run the train tracks. I'm telling you, as somebody who lived in a town where people tried to run the train tracks and failed, bad things happen if you get hit by a train.
Yeah, people used to unfortunately walk the tracks behind the house, and there, as a child, I can unfortunately remember 1 or 2 fatalities. Yeah.
And
Anyway.
just remember, Terry, since we're talking baseball nicknames, don't stand on the tracks when the train's coming through.
Anyway, before we get started, let's say hi to our friends who joined us tonight. We got Amy, our other. That's just
Our
what I'm going to call
fourth.
her.
Rose,
Yeah.
whatever.
Bober, Alex Wheaton, welcome.
Bober's here. God help us.
Well, I was
He's
going
going
to
to
say
have a problem with the Yankees list. I know Terry's calling it the top 10 historic baseball player nicknames, but you might as well call it the Yankees. And if Mariano Rivera doesn't win,
and Dad, and I have to say hi to Dad.
Yes, if Mariano Rivera doesn't win tonight, George, you're going to see me fired up, like firing Aaron Boone fired up.
Oh boy!
All right, Big Dumper just struck.
So you're saying he's the closer, is what you're predicting?
Mariano is the closer, the greatest closer in the history of baseball.
Somebody told me I like dad jokes the other day, and I said I just call them jokes. What in the world?
I have no idea what she just said.
I think Amy's attempting some emojis over here.
I think so too.
And it did not translate.
I don't know who that is. Oh, Mariano Rivera is the greatest closer in the history of baseball. First time ballot Hall of Famer. More on that later, Amy.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about
when he walked out, his music was Enter Sandman. But again, more on that later. Terry, where are we
this
at
week
today?
I didn't do the stupid part and put the times up here. Here's the big topic. Here are the chapters of the show with no times listed this time. We're going to talk about the Major League Baseball playoffs. We're going to talk about college football. We're going to talk about AEW WrestleDream, and we're going to talk the top 10 historic baseball player nicknames. But before we get into the Major League Baseball playoffs, I have something special. You can see it behind me, but I'm going to read it for you. This is the intro to the baseball documentary by Ken Burns, but it is an excerpt from Walt Whitman from July 23rd, 1846, from the Brooklyn Eagle. In our sundown perambulations of late, through the outer parts of Brooklyn, we have observed several parties of youngsters playing base, a certain game of ball. Let us go forth a while and get better air in our lungs. Let us leave our close rooms. The game of ball is glorious. Walt Whitman, Brooklyn Eagle, July 23rd, 1846.
Yeah. Uncle Walt does it again.
He also said a bunch of stuff about Americans being fat and lazy, but I left that part out of here.
Well, he wasn't wrong.
Even in 1846, we were already hearing that. Let's talk postseason baseball 2025. Here is the current situation. The Mariners are currently playing the Blue Jays. Does anybody have a score update?
It's 0-0, and LaSavage struck out the side, or up 3 down. LaSavage, the rookie for the Blue Jays.
Okay, so if the Mariners win tonight, they meet the Dodgers in the World Series starting October 24th. If the Blue Jays win tonight, we will have Game 7 tomorrow night. Is that the case?
I believe that is correct, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, everybody except for Dodgers fans is rooting for the Mariners.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And this is no surprise. Mike Bober, just out of spite, I didn't vote for a single Yankee. That's no surprise.
And he wonders why he's the worst.
The absolute worst, because there are a couple really good nicknames for Yankees. I get what he's saying, that just because they're a Yankee doesn't mean they have a good nickname. I get that. But in this case, he is wrong, because there are several that fit, and we'll get into it when we hit the main event of the show. Now, Terry, so I'm going to tell you, the Brewers were the best offensive team in baseball until they run into Showtime and the boys, and then it was over.
Yeah, I am a little shocked that it was a sweep, honestly. For them to sweep the Brewers, they are on fire right now.
Well, and you talk about on fire and finally showing up. Shohei Ohtani pitches 6 innings the other night, hits 3 home runs, bombs it out of the stadium. The 8th player ever to hit it out of the stadium, or the 9th player to hit, and maybe the 9th player to hit 2 in the same game. If there's a time for the best player on your team to show up, right before the World Series is a pretty good time. So if he can continue to do that, because last year he batted 150 in the World Series, but people forget that because the Dodgers won the World Series.
Well, if you keep going to the World Series every year, you're
Yeah.
bound to have a decent one.
Well, and I sent you guys this, and I don't know that you read it, Terry, because you're behind.
Probably.
You're behind. Mr. October is a fantastic name. Don't start with me, Bober. You're
Oh,
baiting
God.
me. You're
I
baiting
cannot.
me. Don't start.
That's just.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
Mm.
So they had a news article come out of the LA market this week. The $700 million deferred contract of Shohei Ohtani is paid in full 1 year.
Yep.
Meaning they earned enough money to be able to pay Shohei Ohtani's deferred contract of $700 million.
Jeez. A lot of money.
And you don't think baseball is big business, and I'm not trying to be a smart
It is.
ass. There is a reason Fox News hates the prospects of a Blue Jays Dodgers World Series. Because there is no sexiness to the Blue Jays. They are a gritty, tough out, gonna play every out type of baseball team. But they don't have Cal Raleigh, who now people are trying to say has more home runs in the American League than anybody in his. No, Judge still has the record. You don't get to count the postseason. Get away from me. So, although Raleigh has 64 total for the year.
Although to do it as a damn catcher, I mean, that part to me is the biggest part of him
Look,
doing what he's doing.
I told you, Terry, I'm all for giving Cal Raleigh the MVP, and here's why. I don't want to hear another fucking word when Judge gets 5 in a row. So go ahead and take it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Well, we got other stuff to talk about before we dive too much into baseball.
Hold on. Don't skip me. Your man Freddie Freeman showed up in the Dodgers too.
Well, he's not my man.
I know you love Freddie from the days of Atlanta, but he's over 350 batting. I know you wanted to know that, especially since Atlanta sent his ass to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Yeah, you know.
Well, there was a lot of monkey business going on when that happened. So
yeah.
Freddie.
So we win a World Series, and we're going to send the guy responsible for said World Series to a team that needs no help.
Well, I mean, he was a free agent, but he fired his agent because his agent did not tell him that the Braves had offered him more money.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But then he signed with the Dodgers, and it's done. So now the Braves are going to have a new manager, and we'll go from there. Mark DeRosa is who it's looking like at the moment.
Who is it?
Mark DeRosa.
Mark DeRosa. Texas hired their manager, just while we're on the baseball talk. Young guy out of the front office, came out of the Marlins, 21 to 23, I think it was.
Oh, if he came from the Marlins, I hate him.
Can't remember his name, but he's 45 years old, and he will be the manager of the Texas Rangers. Mm-hmm. So Dave sent me Dave Miller, Super Dave, sent me a audio podcast to listen to because he knows how much I like baseball. So the guy did an interview, and I just haven't gotten the chance to listen to it yet.
Okay.
But I might do that at work tomorrow if I'm bored. So we'll see.
You're never bored at work. Come on.
Also, there are still 4 other free agent manager positions because managers are free agents. You said free agents. So this just Here we go. Here comes the tangent. So now you've got other managers, and the Padres manager retired with 2 years left. So,
all right.
Well, he keeps getting to that first game or first series in the playoffs and can't get past it. So,
yeah.
But that happens if you have this gorilla named the LA Dodgers in your division.
It does, unfortunately.
And the pitcher for Philly's getting death threats because he.
What?
Oh, he overthrew the ball, gave the Dodgers the series win in the 11th inning.
Philly's pitcher.
Yeah.
This should not surprise you.
The Philly pitcher who blew the game for them is getting death threats to the point where the Philadelphia Phillies have to give him extra security for he and his significant other, family, whatever, because Philly fans are that stupid.
All right. You tell me this now, and I went to Philly by myself for a weekend when I went for WrestleMania. Now I'm glad I didn't know this.
When Undertaker showed up, and hit the choke slam, that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
They love that.
Let's put the baseball to the side for a little while.
And
let's talk about college football week 8. Here's a few scores. Texas A&M and Arkansas 3-point game. A&M still undefeated, but Arkansas, since dropping their horrible coach, let Bobby Petrino coach, and maybe they're a little bit better with Bobby.
It's all proof. Again, Terry, we talk about it all the time. Some coordinators are not meant to be head coaches. He wasn't even a coordinator. He was Nick Saban's offensive line coach. Alabama had really good offensive lines. If that's what he's good at, that's what he's good at. Enter Nebraska. Bill Callahan, considered one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL. They gave him the head coaching position at Nebraska, and he had the first losing season in 40 years. And he made it 4 before they fired him and ran him out of Lincoln. So A&M, though, with another gritty win, their defense gave up way too much. I'm sure Elko will have plenty of talking points. But against a Bobby Petrino coached Arkansas, make no mistake about it, this is not Sam Pittman's offense. This is Bobby Petrino, who was, probably still is, one of the better offensive minds in all of college football. And this is the result. He's had the team a couple weeks. Yes, they've lost. Nobody expected them to win, even in Fayetteville, Arkansas, against A&M, particularly as good as this A&M team has played.
This is dangerous because Bobby Petrino basically begged Auburn to hire him on multiple coaching cycles. And Auburn now goes to Arkansas next week. Whew. I'm not looking forward to that.
And even though it's a small town, Fayetteville, Arkansas is rowdy on Saturdays. They love their football, and they don't care. Anyway, my man Lane let me down, Terry. Ole Miss falls to Georgia, gives up 2 scores in the fourth quarter. We're leading, and then couldn't put it to bed in Athens.
Georgia is a second-half football team, and it keeps happening over and over again.
Yep.
They are extremely good in the second half. Sometimes they really suck in the first half, but they just keep getting it done, except against Alabama. We know that. But otherwise, they just keep getting it done in the second half.
Man, Ole Miss is a legit football team.
They are.
They did not do to LSU, to Georgia, what I thought they could maybe with that run game they have. But Georgia is always going to have a better defensive line than most football teams in the country. So when you look at Georgia's defensive line, who they've sent to the NFL since Kirby's been there, and by the way, did you realize this is Kirby Smart's 10th season at Georgia already?
Yes, because that is roughly the number of losses that Auburn has in a row.
I won't try to rub salt in the wound, Terry, but I can't believe he's been gone 10 years. Because he was with Saban for about 10 years too, you know?
Well, not only that, but he and Lane have both flirted and come this close to signing with Auburn to coach, and it didn't happen. And then now they're somewhere else kicking everybody's ass.
Well, nobody expects Kirby Smart to leave Georgia, and that's probably a pretty safe bet because he didn't even express interest in Alabama when Saban left. Although, who wants to follow that man and be in his shadow other than idiot Kalen DeBoer? We've talked about this on that show before, on this show. But anyway, talking about Lane, because your man is sucking again over there at Auburn, and the seat's starting to get real warm there. There's speculation. Oh, Lane Kiffin will come to Auburn. No, he's not. He's not. He is in Oxford.
That chance is gone. Yeah. He may go to Florida.
Well, they have a better chance than Auburn, but we'll wait till the coach is fired chat.
Yeah, I was going to say.
AP number 10 Vanderbilt.
Oh, man. They're going to go to the playoffs, aren't they?
LSU. Making LSU my favorite. LSU. They haven't been fun to watch since Les Miles left. Well, I take that back. Watching the Cajun as the head coach was fun too, Ed Orgeron. But Brian Kelly sucks. This is proof Brian Kelly sucks. I get, and here's the thing: Vanderbilt is not Diego Pavia. That offensive line was blowing LSU defenders back. The offense was running the ball, plenty of play action. They executed their offense, and I know it was in Nashville, but my point is, everybody talked about how good of a defense LSU had. They didn't look that good.
I mean, Vanderbilt, even Saban said this, everybody's got a home field advantage in the SEC except Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a small stadium. It may still be under construction. It's not a tough place to play other than the fact that you have to face that team right now.
Yeah. And Vanderbilt wins and physically dominates the line of scrimmage over LSU's defense.
Man.
And when in the world, Terry, did you think in your lifetime that we would be talking about Vanderbilt as number 10 in the AP poll?
Not at all, because even when Jay Cutler was there, they were just I mean, I don't know how many wins they had at their most when Cutler was there, but it wasn't anything like this.
Mm-mm.
Hey,
Coach Keith is here. He just missed us talking about his hometown of Philly.
Don't rewind. We're sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
The Holy War, Utah falls short against BYU. BYU again, Terry. Disciplined football team, don't make a lot of mistakes. Maybe a team like SMU was last year that nobody's paying attention to, and they may regret that decision.
I hope it was bad talk.
It was.
Basically, we were talking about people being pissed off at the Phillies.
Yeah, and the relief pitcher who blew the game is getting death threats. So against the Dodgers. But the Terry, Utah, real physical game again. BYU just they don't buckle. And we don't talk a lot about BYU, but I watched Urban Meyer on Fox talking about how the Holy War, as they call this game, was one of his favorites to coach when he was the head coach at Utah. And he said he wished more people understood that this is a game that it doesn't matter if the teams are 500 or they're both undefeated or whatever. Right. It's going to be a game like this. And it was back and forth and back and forth. It was a good football game. It was a good football game.
Yeah, there's a handful of teams that we haven't talked about a lot yet, but they keep winning. And BYU's one of them. You know, Georgia Tech's one of them. We need to start talking about some of these teams more because they're climbing up in the polls.
And one of the reasons that we don't talk about BYU is, let's face it, this is destination football. You got to have money. You can build a team with anybody. Look at Texas Tech, and we're going to get to them, I'm sure. But the problem is, does BYU have the resources of a Texas A&M and Ole Miss, a Georgia, and Nebraska, and Auburn? So you overlook them, and the next thing you know, they're 6-0.
Right.
And they're doing it pretty handedly, but they're doing it quietly. So those are the teams, to me, that are always the most dangerous when you're looking at it. But anyway.
I was getting ready to talk about Memphis a lot, and they let me down. They got beat by UAB. It's not listed on any of the graphics here, but UAB just fired Trent Dilfer, and they let I don't remember his first name, but Chris Mortensen's son is the interim coach there. And they go and they win at Memphis to give them their first loss of the season. A UAB team that was terrible under Trent Dilfer.
Yeah, Memphis is a very good football team.
They are.
Maybe he got the most out of them the one time.
Right.
But we'll see what he can do the second time around. But by and large, it's his job to lose from what it looks like. Like these people, there are people that are really behind him, including the talking heads. You know, Texas goes to Kentucky and lays the egg that we are accustomed to seeing Georgia do. Georgia did not do that this year. It was Texas. It was Arch Manning. Mark Stoops decides he's going to play a top team very tough, and it's Texas this year, but they still can't win in Kentucky.
That's true. Kentucky, another game up on. We keep talking about teams that Auburn's going to play that keep playing other teams tough, and I hate it. One of these teams needs to suck, and I think Auburn may be that team. Anyway, speaking of suck, Florida State got beat by Stanford this weekend.
Florida State is, if you look up the words dumpster fire, Florida State is a dumpster fire, and it started when they went 13-0 and got snubbed in the national championship tournament, where there were only 4 teams that went in that year. Allison and I were in Atlanta. We watched Nick Saban lead.
Terry was there too.
Lead the Tide right over top of Georgia.
I'm not watching Alabama and Georgia in this game. Hell no,
Terry could have been, but he chose not to be. We had awesome seats and a better time. But here's the thing. Florida State thought they were entitled to that spot, and maybe they were, but they didn't do anything last year, and they certainly haven't done anything this year to prove that they are a playoff-worthy team of any kind. Stanford knocks their quarterback out with an illegal hit, targeting, thrown out of the game. Castellanos, they have 2 more drives to score. They got 5 chances inside the last 60 seconds of this game yesterday. 5 chances to close this out. When you think Stanford, you don't think good football team since Jim Harbaugh, David Shaw. They have not been good. Andrew Luck might be the general manager of that team, but they have not been a good football team. Florida State apparently is in conversations, according to On3, to decide what they're going to do with Norville and the company. They're talking $100 million. $100 million. Bad call by the ref on the last play against FSU. Coach Keith, respectfully, I disagree. I do not think he broke the plane. And when they called it, he didn't break the plane on the field. There certainly wasn't enough evidence to overturn that call. So I would disagree with you. I don't believe he had the touchdown, but that's why we have so much fun, because we can have those disagreements and still be fun.
I didn't see it because I was just watching the Auburn game, and then I was dealing with my feelings after the Auburn game. So,
yeah. Well, Florida State, and here's the thing, and Coach Keith could appreciate this because of what his name is. We call him Coach Keith for a reason. He's a coach. Florida State should never have been in the position that they had 5 opportunities at the very last second to win this football game. They should have been up by 3 or 4 touchdowns when the clock read 0-0-0. And instead, they got beat by a much lesser team than they are. So,
well, we've talked about both of their coordinators and some shortcomings. And it looks like they're feeling that. And, I think Florida State learned last year that their head coach isn't necessarily getting the best out of his team every season. So you combine those 3 guys together, and apparently they pulled it together against Alabama to start the year, but after that, wake-up call.
Well, they treated Alabama like it was the only game on the schedule, and the only thing they did is the same thing that Japan did when they attacked Pearl Harbor, and that was woke up a sleeping giant, because roll Tide, Terry. I mean, I know you hate hearing it, but they have beat 5 top 25 teams, including Georgia, including Tennessee, and including Vanderbilt. So
I got to get you out of this good mood. So why don't we talk about Nebraska, Minnesota for a minute?
Let's not. So I had said 3 weeks ago, the offensive line is a problem. I said 2 weeks ago, the offensive line is a problem. I said last week, the offensive line is a problem. 9 sacks. 9. 9 sacks.
That's too many.
So you get a 6-yard play from Emmett Johnson, and then you get a 17-yard sack on second down. You get 2 good downs, first and second, and then you get a 15-yard penalty, or somebody jumps off sides, or whatever it is. This is the exact same thing that happened last year. Nebraska goes on the road 5-1 to Bloomington, Indiana, and Cigarette Kurt put them to sleep. They never got off the bus. At 56-7, Indiana whooped Nebraska's ass. Friday night under the lights, Minnesota whooped Nebraska's ass. They didn't do it with as much success, and here's why. Nebraska's a better football team than Minnesota. On paper, athletically, paying talent, Nebraska's a better football team than Minnesota, but they're not a better team than Minnesota. And that's the difference. And when you have an offensive line, counting all 7 guys that have played on the offensive line this year, Terry, they have 172 starts combined. That is a lot of football for them to be giving up 9 sacks.
Right.
You also have an offensive coordinator who saw last week that he needed to get Raiola out of the pocket and get the ball out of his hand. Guess what we didn't do this week? Get him out of the pocket and get the ball in his hand. Like your quarterback, you can appreciate this. He holds the damn ball. He doesn't move. He doesn't run.
Right.
The better option in a case like this is TJ Lateef, the freshman. However, Nebraska is Dylan Raiola's football team for now. Now his uncle, who's the offensive line coach, is getting the heat because Nebraska has given up 25 sacks this year, and we're through 7 games. Ask me, because I know the number, how many sacks they gave up in 1994 when they won the national championship.
How many sacks?
8 in 13
So less than
games.
they gave up in this one game.
Yeah.
8 in 13 games. Ask me how many sacks they gave up in 1995.
How many?
0. 0. Arguably the best football team in college history. 0 sacks, 0 holding penalties. So forget the holding penalties because Terry always laughs at that, especially when you talk about offensive line.
Alabama had one of those 0 holding penalty years too, but
8 sacks, Terry, in 27 games. Still less than this.
It's one game. Oh, I know. We're still debating Oklahoma fans. So they went back and took one of the sacks away, Auburn and Oklahoma. So it was 9 instead of 10. And I keep correcting people. It was 9, buddy. It was 9, not 10.
Yeah. So 9 sacks on defense. Absolutely terrible. They have Northwestern this week. They opened as a 9.5 favorite against Minnesota and lost by 18. This is the year in college football. Do not believe what you see. I don't believe Northwestern is a 7.5 point underdog against these Nebraska Cornhuskers. So we'll see what happens Saturday.
Well, let me ask this. Did the offensive line also pair this with a lot of false starts and holds?
Very, very few. Now, This was the most penalties they'd ever had.
Andrew, you got a question from Coach Keith.
You actually know Matt Rule. I think he's horrible. I would love to see him go. He knows where all the cameras are all the time, but he is not what they're looking for at college. At Penn State.
He's been there 3 years. That's about his full tenure.
That's about his full team. Yeah. So here's my thing, Coach Keith, and I'm joking with you. I don't necessarily think that Matt Rule is a terrible coach. I think he's a great organizer. I don't think he's a playing coach. I don't think he makes the right calls. I don't think he makes the right calls and get people in the right positions. I think at some point he should have seen when you're rolling back or stepping back 38 times in drop back situation and you're getting teed off 9 sacks on defense, you made your name as a defensive coordinator because before you became the Penn State the Temple head coach, excuse me. I think he should have seen all that. The whole talk about Penn State this week probably is one of the reasons they lost 24-6, if we're honest. If we're really honest, this is an unfocused coach that went on the road and got their asses handed to them. Matt Rule, coach, respectfully, has never finished the job. Yeah, they went 10-2 at Temple. They didn't win the championship in the conference. They didn't go anywhere. They went 11-3 at Baylor, and guess what? He moved the hell on to Carolina. If Nebraska is a jumping off point to Penn State, good luck. I have seen twice in my lifetime 10-win coaches fired from established programs of dominance, that being the University of Nebraska. And guess what? This is where we are today because you fired guys that got the job done but didn't win national championships.
That's right.
So as far as I'm concerned, no, I don't think he goes to Penn State, but I don't think Penn State gets the guy they're looking for. Nicholas Lou Saban is retired. Urban Meyer is not going back to coaching. They aren't going to find a guy that can step into the Penn State system and in a year put them in the national championship game. That is not happening.
So to wrap it up, Minnesota 24-6 over Nebraska. And speaking of firing a guy that was getting the job done a lot more than the guys you hired, Auburn with another loss, this time to Missouri. And honestly, 23-17 Missouri, double overtime. I think this might be the first time I've seen two kickers miss field goals in the first overtime and send it to a second. But this is really this tells you a lot. But this game felt better than the other losses. It felt like they were playing better. They scored a lot of points in the second half. They didn't just stop at halftime. The defense was playing solid the whole game. And they win this football game if they know how to kick a field goal. And that's basically what this came down to. But whose fault is that? It's got to go to the top. I know Alex McPherson had his large intestine removed. He has a colostomy bag. It is a miracle that this kid is out there kicking the football. But guess what? If you're going to win football games at Auburn University, it's your responsibility to make sure you can put somebody out there that can get the job done. I don't blame it on Alex. He is doing worlds above what you would expect him to do in his condition. But it's Hugh Freeze's fault that they are stuck with that. And you know, the fact and Hugh Freeze, he missed a 38-yarder and a 40-yarder. And then Hugh Freeze puts him out there in overtime to kick a 50-yarder. And I'm like, did you not see the other two?
Yeah, were you not at this game?
Yeah, and Terry, he don't need a colostomy bag and or missing an intestine to have the mental aspect of that game. If you miss the two short ones, what in the world makes anybody think you're going to hit the long one clutch when it matters?
And I love this guy. You know, Dave Portnoy came out shitting on him because he missed a field goal, and then he thanked God for being there. And Dave Portnoy doesn't understand what it means to thank God for an opportunity.
Yeah.
I'll just
I love the kid and respect his story, but I also agree and appreciate what you said. Hugh Freeze has one job as the University of Auburn football coach, and it's to win football games.
That's right.
And if your kicker is physically unable, redshirt him, keep him on the team, give him a medical scholarship, whatever it is. Let him get his degree because it wasn't his fault, and find somebody that can go kick the ball.
Yeah, and then of course the quarterback holding on to the ball too long. It wasn't as bad as it has been the other games, but I'll tell you what doesn't help. There were 5 dropped passes. One of them would have been a 70-yard touchdown to Cam Coleman. You know, we really praise Cam Coleman and what he can do. He's a freak athlete, but I'll get to that in a minute. Leave that up there so I can get to it.
Yep.
But you know what? I don't care what acrobatics you do. If you drop the ball when you should be catching it, that's not a good thing. Everybody wants to blame the quarterback. It's not all on the quarterback. Now, he is a problem, but the receivers dropped 5 passes, especially in the fourth quarter. They could have sealed the game in the fourth quarter. And on the third down, the tight end just dropped one that was him standing there, and it was thrown right to him. And that crap can't happen. And you cannot blame the quarterback when those things happen. Do I think it was a letdown loss from the crap that happened last week? I'm not sure. There's a lot of weirdness right now at Auburn because the guy that was the starting running back at the start of the year, Damari Alston, left the team. The story is that he went into Hugh Freeze's office. He's a senior. He went into Hugh Freeze's office and asked for a red shirt. And Hugh Freeze basically said, "You're a team captain. We are paying you this NIL. No, you cannot have a red shirt." So he left. I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. You're counting on a guy to be the guy.
Yeah.
And he's not. But the reverse of that, there were a lot of players coming out and supporting him, supporting the running back. So I worried about a split locker room because there was a quote from Jackson Arnold, starting quarterback. He said, "If you don't want to be here, then leave." So there's a lot of information swirling. Honestly, they played a lot better than they had the last few weeks. And especially they didn't just drop off in the second half. But I think it is time after 3 years that's not good enough. I don't think it was as much a letdown. I think they played similarly to how they've been playing. They might have played even better in some aspects. But there are some holes on this team, special teams especially. And the conditions that led up to this, there have been plenty of opportunities, and the head coach is responsible for those gaps not being filled, basically.
If I may, because I do watch a lot of this stuff on Twitter and other things too, watched his press conference, Terry. They're asking Hugh Freeze if he thinks he's still the right guy at Auburn. When the media starts asking that question, like I said, the seat's getting warm at Auburn for Hugh Freeze.
Well, here's something I didn't like, and I'll sorry to butt in, but it's about the press conference. So up until this week, Jackson Arnold has been sitting right next to Hugh Freeze at the press conference. This week, he was not.
Oh.
And Hugh Freeze said these words. He said, "I thought about the quarterback change this week, but I decided to go with Jackson." My question is, why in the hell would you put that in the public if you chose this guy to be your starter? Because all you're doing is bringing him down.
Yeah. And you're paying him, and you sought him. And we talked about this off season, and I don't want to beleaguer the point because I know we got a lot to get to.
Yeah.
But nobody ever talked about, you and I, how good Auburn's defensive class was going to be.
Yeah.
We talked about Jackson Arnold. We talked about Cam Coleman. We talked about Hugh Freeze getting guys that were going to fix his system, you know. But what kept Auburn in this football game is once again the defensive play, particularly from the front seven. I mean, 252 yards passing isn't the end of the world, Terry, but the front seven, those defensive linemen and linebackers are more than carrying their share of the load there at Auburn. So, and the
it's
problem
hard to
is,
run the ball on Auburn. I mean, because Missouri's got a damn good running back, but he was getting like 2.5 yards a carry.
Yeah, and the problem is too, as you know, by the fourth quarter, if those guys are starting to get a little gassed because their offense can't give them enough time off the field, that's when they start to bend and break. And you know, I saw it with Nebraska and Minnesota. Too many 3-and-outs to go ahead and do it. And one other thing, because you mentioned Cam Coleman with the goofy catches, Patrick Mahomes, God help me, with his best Patrick Mahomes imitation, Dylan Raiola threw a left-handed pass for a completion. He is a righty. He also did a diving throw. Here's the problem I have with that. There is an expectation that he's going to do that. If it happens organically, fine. If you're forced to do it because your offensive line sucks, fuck you. Moving on to the next game, Terry. Let's go.
That's right. Let's talk about somebody else's team for a change. Louisville knocks off the beast, Miami, just when we thought Miami was going to go unscathed through the season. No, sir. Louisville 24-21 win. 4 interceptions from Carson Beck.
Jeff Fromm for Louisville is one of those guys that is an offensive mind. You wouldn't know it looking at this game, Terry. Miami couldn't do anything against Louisville, not against the defense. But Jeff Fromm likes those older quarterbacks that have been in college football, that have been tested. I think you sent it to me or somebody else did. He's beat 5 or 6 top 10 teams as an unranked or
he is undefeated against top 5 teams.
Top 5 teams. Yeah, there you go. So
at Louisville, I don't think that was the case at Purdue.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy though, because he's the guy that's knocking teams off left and right.
Right.
And
he's a good coach. I mean, he's always been a good coach, even at Purdue. I mean, Purdue is not that great of a program, and that's a tough place to win. But
they had Drew Brees once,
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like we're talking about Jay Cutler. They had Drew Brees once, so Louisville. This shocks me because again, watching like the Nebraska-Minnesota game, on paper, the U should dog walk Louisville. This shouldn't even be close.
Right.
And you're coming off the bye week, meaning Miami. This shouldn't even be close. Louisville wins.
Hey, Coach Keith won some money on this game.
Yeah. Well, and look, good for you, Coach Keith. You picked the right way because I went back and forth on this knowing that Louisville has been the spoiler. And I went ahead and said, nah, they're not going to do it this year, Miami.
Yeah.
And then Beck throws those interceptions. And
Georgia fans are loving it.
Ugly game. Ugly game. Anyway, who do we have up next, Harry?
We have Alabama, Tennessee. Alabama wins 37-20. And Simpson looks like a stud.
And Ryan Williams is back. And that makes all the difference in the world when number 2 is catching the ball. Alabama is back. I hate to say it for everybody who thought, myself included, that Kalen DeBoer isn't it. They lost to Florida State, and they have reeled off nothing but wins and significant wins. They hold 2 wins over SEC opponents in the top 10.
Yeah.
In Vanderbilt and Georgia. It may be Roll Tide. And because they didn't lose a conference game, Terry.
Right.
So that loss to Florida State may matter somewhere down the line, but Alabama on their current trajectory is a playoff team, and they may be the SEC champion again, the way Nick Saban intended it to be, for 25 years to come. They just look so much better defensively. Tennessee didn't have a lot of answers. I watched this game. Yeah. I watched between this and Auburn. They stuffed Tennessee regularly. Josh Heupel is an offensive-minded football coach. He knows how to get the best out of his players. They went into a hostile environment. We talked about this last week. You don't win at Bryant-Denning Stadium if you're not Alabama. I mean, that is the house that Saban built as far as anymore. Concerned. Now, there was a time, Terry, between the Bear and Nicholas Lou Saban where you could beat Alabama at home. But those days are gone by and large.
I mean, and since Nick Saban came to Alabama, Auburn has beat them in Tuscaloosa 1 time. Up until then, Alabama had never beaten Auburn in that stadium. And that sounds pretty impressive, but I have to remind you that they played each other in Birmingham for decades. So,
yeah.
Then it went to the campuses, and Auburn beat Alabama several times before Nick Saban got there, and he finally did it and went on a big streak. And then Cam Newton showed up and won the Cam back, but other than that, it's been all Alabama.
Yeah, and this rivalry for the last several years, Tennessee got them last year, but they
got a couple of wins recently,
But this has been all Alabama. I think wasn't Saban
especially at home.
Wasn't Saban like 15-1 or 15-2 against Tennessee? Something silly.
Probably one. I think there was one win against Saban.
Yeah. And well, when Lane was the head coach, it took Terrence Cody blocking 2 field goals.
With his
I remember that one. That was a great game because it was like 10-12 or something. Just one of them stupid games that came down to field goals. But anyway, Alabama's back. I mean, like I said, they knocked off Georgia. They've knocked off Vandy. They've knocked off Tennessee. These are good football teams that Alabama is. And Alabama didn't beat Georgia big, but they did beat Tennessee by 17, and they beat Vanderbilt by 16. Think they beat them 30-14. Think that's right? Yeah. Anyway, 2 scores both ways. 3 scores on this one. So watch out, the Tide are coming, and they're only getting better as the weeks get on, and that's the bad part for anybody that's going to face them.
All right, here we go. Texas Tech and Arizona State wins 26-22, puts an end to the undefeated season for Texas Tech. Texas Tech did have a backup quarterback. Arizona State, I believe, got their quarterback back, and he went off 319 yards and a touchdown. Their kicker nailed 4 field goals in their 26-22 victory, and Texas Tech was held to 276 total yards of offense.
To quote the great Nick Saban, it doesn't matter we can pay players if you're not paying the right ones. So,
yes, sir.
I called Arizona State to win the Big 12. They still are in it. Texas Tech, I told you I want to see what $60 million buys you. They got a good football team at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
They got a good football team in Lubbock. But it's hard to win on the road. If you're the better football team, Terry, as you've seen this pattern, it's hard to win on the road. There was a lot of teams that I think they said 8 top 25 teams lost this weekend. So that, I mean,
4 undefeated teams lost.
Yeah. So there you go.
Graphic on that.
But Arizona State here, and Coach Rosie, who's joining us for some reason, welcome, said he's worried that Kenny Dillingham they're going to lose him. You're absolutely going to lose him. The Big 12 is not anywhere that anybody wants to be who wants to be a big-time football coach. So you might as well enjoy him while you got him there, Coach Rosie, because there are about 12 job openings as of today that are better than an Arizona State job in the Big 12. So your worry, your concern, your stress is well placed.
Yeah, he's got Auburn.
Will not be at Arizona State.
Yeah,
and he is an Auburn guy, isn't he, Terry?
Yeah, he was there. So he was there with Bo Nix. He left for Oregon, and Bo Nix followed him to Oregon. So, yeah, that's the connection to Auburn there.
Well, I can tell you this: he's a good coach. He's a young coach. He's younger than 40. He's sub 40. I want to say he's 36 or 37. They've got a real good shot to make the playoffs still. And so does Texas Tech. The Big 12 is a lot more wide open than we thought it would be. And the man, by the way, former team, well, you didn't put it on here. I know you didn't. The Cincinnati Bearcats ran all over.
Oh, you know who went to Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Wait, I have something to add. Do you know who went to Cincinnati?
Please tell me who went to Cincinnati.
We know where you're going with this.
Look, I have one thing of college football knowledge, and I'm gonna keep it forever. Jason Kelsey. Okay, next. Go ahead. Yes, right. Amy, you are correct. Thank you so much.
Oh, God. Let me move on. USC Notre Dame rivalry game. Notre Dame puts it on USC, 10-point victory. Jeremiah Love with 228 yards rushing. But that wasn't all. Price had 87 yards rushing and a kickoff return touchdown. They ran all over USC's defense.
Notre Dame wins because they play defense and they run the ball. USC loses because they're that better version of a video game football team than Colorado, and they still don't play defense. You cannot, in the 10 years he's been the head coach, and that's scary too, Terry, that Lincoln Riley has been a head football coach for over a decade. Believe it or not, between Oklahoma and USC.
Right.
He has been the head coach for over a decade. Sam Levitt doesn't play, or not Sam Levitt, Sam whatever doesn't play at Notre Dame anymore, Allison and Amy. Your man. I think he plays for the Redskins.
Oh, you're talking about, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, your bearded man. Hartman, whatever.
Hartman?
Yeah. Anyway, she's not paying attention. She's Googling the Notre Dame quarterback. So, anyway, USC goes to South Bend and they lose. And this is the way this game should have gone, Terry. USC is not a good football team. Well, let me put it another way. USC has a very good offense and an offensive-minded head coach. They don't play defense and they don't win games. And that's why they don't win games. They're not going to win games. So, anyway.
By the way, I'd like to point out that Amy does know who he is, and he plays for the Washington Commanders now. So
it's the Redskins. We don't use the word Commanders around here.
Whatever, doesn't matter.
We don't believe in that new age apologetic.
He looks good in the white pants.
Cancel culture BS.
Keep going.
Well, and since you brought that up, I will bring this up because I've been looking for minor league baseball team hats because I'm just going to go on a spending spree because I think they're pretty cool. There are multiple minor league baseball teams still named the Indians. Mm-hmm. I just think that is an interesting thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm from Native American country. I could give a shit if you call them the Indians. Why not? I refuse to call Cleveland Guardians. By the way, Allison, our rule, Cleveland sucks. I refuse to call them the Guardians. They are the Indians.
If they want to change their names, see, here's my problem with it. If they wanted to change their names, they were the Cleveland Spiders before they changed their name to the Indians.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why not just go back to the Spiders and get that history?
Because they're Cleveland and they suck. No explanation needed.
Allison's other contribution to the show is when we don't talk Yankees baseball is how much Cleveland sucks. Terry, run down the top 10.
Top 10. Thanks everybody for voting. Some interesting things in here. Texas slips into the top 10 at 5-2 at number 10. Georgia Tech at number 9 at 7-0. Miami, with their loss, drops to number 8 at 5-1. They still are not bowl eligible. Number 7, Ole Miss, 6-1. Number 6, Alabama, 6-1. Number 5, Georgia, above Alabama, 6-1. Number 4, Oregon, 6-1. And the top 3 7-0 teams: Texas A&M at 3, Indiana at 2, and Ohio State takes the top spot.
I love our listeners, but they have that middle is just a mess. It's a mess. It's absolutely a mess.
Even I know this is never going to happen.
Well, we did give Pitt some love when he was on the show and last week. 2 weeks in a row. He expects 3 weeks in a row for us to slobber over Pitt. It's not going to happen.
Especially when we send out a list on the committee and we're waiting on his responses.
Well, I did tell him I would send it out sooner, and did that happen? Not really. Not really.
But Ohio State,
you were on the ball this week. That's all that matters.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
Couple of notes. Ohio State goose eggs Wisconsin. Ooh. It's not happened yet, but Luke Fickell will be fired before or at the end of this season. Indiana, Cigarette Kurt, $92 million extension, 8 years, $11 million and change. He is the coach in Bloomington for the foreseeable future. That's not changing. They paid this man, Terry, $90 million at age 64. $90 million because he's lost 2 games since he's been in Bloomington, Indiana. And all you got to do is Google him. He wins. Don't worry about it. He'll tell you. Just Google me. I win.
Does he know what that means? I mean, I'm concerned that if he says Google me, he means something completely inappropriate.
Well, here's the thing about the Ohio State team. And we talk about Ohio State, the program. This gives you an idea of Ohio State's dominance in a program. Wisconsin's had some really good football teams, right?
Yeah.
Ohio State is 15-0 in the last 15 meetings with Wisconsin.
Ooh. Okay.
How long has it been since Bielema left?
2000, and he had Russ, so that was 2000. He had Russell Wilson because Nebraska played Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship, and Wisconsin won and went to the Rose Bowl. 2010, 11, 12, 13.
Okay.
It's been a decade because his offensive coordinator, also a very good coach, got fired for not winning enough. Dave Aranda was the defensive coordinator, who's now the head coach at Baylor.
Right. Another guy that doesn't seem to do it as a head coach, but was a great.
Who did they fire at Arkansas? Because it wasn't Houston Nutt, and Nutt was gone. But whoever they fired at Arkansas is the reason Bielema jumped ship, because he thought he could take the Big Ten style of football, the double tight ends, the setback, He thought he could take that to
Petrino.
Arkansas.
Was it Petrino?
It might have been Petrino's second stint at Arkansas. So 2000.
Petrino just can't get away from Arkansas.
I want to say it was like 2013, something like that, but it doesn't matter. Wisconsin hasn't been good since Ron Dane.
Sounds about right.
But my point was Ohio State, and I'm going to keep giving them their flowers because we don't talk about them on the show, and it's not for any other reason than they just keep winning. They're not being tested. They goose-egged Wisconsin. Wisconsin couldn't get out the blocks. That's a big deal. Indiana, 42-13 over Michigan State. They put it on them and never looked back. Oregon scored 60 against Rutgers. So, and we talked about A&M, Georgia. Of course, we talked about Alabama, Ole Miss, Miami, Georgia Tech, and Texas. Georgia Tech won a closer one. The team we missed this week, Terry, Clemson loses again to Georgia Tech. Or no, was it Georgia Tech? I think it was Georgia Tech. No, that was Duke. Georgia Tech beat Duke, but Clemson lost again.
Clemson, Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
At this point, they're not even worthy of talking about.
Yeah, Clemson lost again. I just can't remember who it was to. SMU. Thank you, Bober. Yeah, I should have remembered that. But Bober,
he's showing out trying to get this Auburn job.
He's good for something.
Yeah, they beat him by double digits. Double digits, Terry. Beat Clemson again. Dabo might be on that hot. So you're talking Luke Fickell at Wisconsin, Dabo Sweeney at Clemson, Mike Norvell at Florida State. Who is Islam Khan?
I think it's somebody else putting in emojis that we can't see.
I hope so.
Yep.
I don't speak in codes, and has been well established on this show. I don't believe in 666 because of the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So thank you so much, Islam Khan, for your contributions to our show tonight. Terry, what's next on the agenda?
We're going to talk about undefeated teams. And who's got an undefeated team? 5. I said 4 earlier. UNLV gets beat. Memphis gets beat. Ole Miss gets beat. Miami gets beat. Texas Tech gets beat. So we are left with 6.
Wow.
Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia Tech, BYU, Texas A&M, and Navy is hanging in there. I did a double take. I had to go make sure Navy was still undefeated, and they are.
And here's the thing. Ohio State, Indiana are probably on a collision course for the Big Ten championship.
Right.
Because they're not going to play each other till then. Georgia Tech in the driver's seat in the ACC. BYU, driver's seat, Big 12. A&M, not in the driver's seat. They are not safe, and they are going to have a target on their back for the next 5 games, Terry.
I would say of the losses, and there's a lot of them that Auburn's had against very good teams, all of Auburn's losses are against top 13 teams in the AP poll. Just throw that out there. You know, if we want to make excuses for something. Auburn looked the worst, in my opinion, against A&M. I know people want to say Oklahoma because all the sacks, but I felt like Auburn was close to winning that football game. I don't think they were against A&M. I mean, even against Georgia, I felt they looked better at certain points.
Yeah, and A&M's number 3 in the country, not just our poll, but the AP poll as well. So there's a lot of people that think Texas A&M's a good football team.
They are. A lot of people. All right, and this is not an updated. This is updated, but not enough. They fired their coach, and we've only got 8 listed. Apparently, Colorado State should be on here too, according to Andrew.
Yeah, right? Colorado State has fired their coach. Like we talked about, Mike Norvell's on the hot seat. Luke Fickell's on the hot seat.
Wow.
These are not places you want to be. And Terry, we live in an era. I talk so fondly of Nebraska on this show all the time. Good, bad, or ugly, they're still my guys. But Osborne had 25 seasons. You know, you ain't going to get 25 seasons anymore if you're not winning football. If you're not doing what Kirby Smart's doing, Nick Saban's Ryan Day is doing. James Franklin won 10 games. And again, like we talked last week, he brought rehab. He brought stability to a program that probably shouldn't even exist, if we're honest. With all of the nonsense they had going on, maybe Penn State shouldn't have ever been allowed to play football again. However, that being said, he also brought disappointment and unrealistic expectations from the fan base, pushed him out the door. And then they lost to Iowa this weekend by a point.
Up until today, when Florida announced they were firing their coach, in my head, Penn State was the best job that was available, and their fired coach was the best coach on the market. But now that Florida's fired their coach, I've got to flip that because I think Florida's probably a little better just because you've got that Florida recruiting base.
Well, the one thing about Penn State is they've always recruited well. They recruit well out of the tri-state area.
Yeah.
Western Pennsylvania has produced some very good football players, so you can't – but you're right. Florida, we talked about this last week. Allison, we're catching you up on stuff you missed.
Thank you.
The Gators should have had for a long time the inside track inside of Florida recruiting because the Seminoles were a down team. Miami was very much a down team. They hadn't won a national championship since 2001, and they fired a sequence of coaches over the years as well. But the Gators had always been that destination for Florida football teams and football players, rather, and you're not seeing that. And yesterday, Billy Napier was asked, what do you think if this is your last game? And they won the game, by the way. They won this football game, and he was fired today. Mm-hmm. And he said, my concern is with the players, because that's always what a coach is going to say. Even if they don't believe it, that's what they're going to say. They fired him today. The Board of Trustees. Now, this is the same team, and this is why I didn't understand this Billy Napier thing. They fired Dan Mullen. They fired Jim McElwain. They fired Will Muschamp. Florida has fired better coaches for less than they have allowed Billy Napier to do. And they're going to be another team with a $50 million or whatever buyout. If Florida State pulls the trigger on Mike Norvell, they could be looking at a total of $100 million. Oof. Between his contract and the contracts of all of his assistants.
I saw that, yeah.
$100 million. I need a new dating pool. What the hell? Also, what is the Dragon team? Because I don't.
That's UAB, University of Alabama, Birmingham. They are the Blazers.
Yep. Fun fact: I went to space camp with a guy who played for UAB.
There's also like a country singer or something that played quarterback at UAB.
We've talked about this before, yeah.
I can't remember his name though, because I'm not up on the not real country singers of late. So
update on the baseball real quick. Addison Barger just hit a 2-run homer. It is 4-0 Blue Jays.
And they had to go to the call to see if it was a homer too.
And that is absolutely correct, Coach Keith. Nebraska happened to flip 2 recruits in the 2027 class thanks to the termination of James Franklin. So we appreciate the fact that your idiot fan base, because I assume you're a Penn State fan, your idiot fan base decided the appropriate thing to do was fire a 10-win coach who can't beat Ohio State or Michigan. So
Auburn will take him in a heartbeat.
If Rule wants to go, we'll do a talent swap. Bring us James Franklin. You can have Matt Rule. I think it's a fair trade.
Let's talk week 9. Here's some games.
Lay down, man.
Hell, I've got to mention UCLA games now because they keep winning all of a sudden. UCLA at Indiana, Missouri at Vanderbilt should be an interesting game. Northwestern at Nebraska, Ole Miss at Oklahoma, Syracuse at Georgia Tech, South Florida and Memphis. That should be a good group of 5 game there. Wait, is South Florida group of 5 or are they?
No, they're outside. Or no, they're a group of 5. They're not. They're not a Power 4. They're a group of 5.
I guess I'm thinking UCF joined the Big 12. Okay. Yeah. Auburn at Arkansas, and this one scares me because Arkansas played pretty well this week, and this is a road game. And Texas A&M at LSU, that should be interesting. Texas A&M should win this football game, but that's interesting.
First of all, Coach Keith, who's your football team? No meant to insult you. You just seem to know a lot about Penn State. Secondly, let's talk about Texas A&M and LSU. They're going into Tiger Stadium. It's probably going to be at night because that's what LSU does.
Right.
And it's going to be 21 points Aggies. Give me 3 touchdowns, Terry, for Elko and company, taking down Brian Kelly, who's going to get fired either this year or next year. I'm excited about this.
I don't know that it's going to be 3 scores. I think LSU is still pretty good. I think they're still a top 25 team. They were flirting with the top 10, which they are not. So I think 10 points. Texas A&M by 10. I tell you, this might be an opportunity, and we might hear in a few days that that Auburn changes their quarterback. I don't necessarily think that's the right move, but the way things were handled in the press conference without Jackson Arnold sitting there by him makes me kind of wonder if they're about to do that. The question is, do they bring the freshman in that's a 5-star? Or do they bring the guy that started for Stanford last year that's really – I mean, he started for Stanford, so that's not really saying.
Auburn has nothing to lose in terms of postseason. No offense to your Auburn Tigers.
No, exactly.
Auburn has everything to lose in terms of recruiting in the SEC, which is a place you cannot lose ground. So you still have to win football games. We talk about it on the show all the time. Your best recruiting tool is still winning because despite how much money you're going to get paid, people still want to win. Nobody wants to get paid $1 million to be 1-11. I don't care what anybody says. If they can get paid $1 million to be 1-11, they can get paid something to be 9-3 or 10-2, let alone something better than that. So, I'm taking Auburn over Arkansas because of the defense, unless there's a quarterback change.
Right.
But I really do believe that Auburn has a top 5 or 10 defense in the country.
They do.
Particularly that front 7.
Yeah.
So if they can get the Arkansas quarterback out of rhythm and off his spot, Auburn has a chance. Do not pull Jackson Arnold if you intend to win this football game.
I'm agreeing. I think there's a lot of things that are wrong, and I think Jackson Arnold isn't perfect. He's not living up to his 5-star ranking coming out of high school. But he also played well enough to win that football game this weekend. So I don't think now's the time to do it. But I've seen him do stupid things before, and that may be what's about to happen.
So who's your team coach, Keith, in college? I see why you know Penn State, but tell me who your team is. Okay, South Florida and Memphis. Memphis is probably going to bounce back, but USF is a very good football team, Terry. They score a lot of points.
Yeah.
I would take Memphis by a touchdown because it's in Memphis and it's after they were just, beaten by UAB.
I'm going South Florida by a touchdown.
Okay. We disagree. Syracuse at Georgia Tech, not a chance in the world. The Ramblin' Wreck wins again. This is probably a 2 or 3 score game. As good as Fran Brown is as the head coach at Syracuse, he's done a lot of good things. Without a quarterback, it doesn't matter. Georgia Tech should win this in a runaway. And literally a runaway because they play a lot of run game and physical defense.
Right. I got Ole Miss at Oklahoma, laying by 14 points here. I don't respect Oklahoma very much at all. I think Ole Miss is a better football team, even on the road. 14 points.
This is a bounce-back game. This is a statement game. This is a very important game. Oklahoma's going to test them with the defense that they have. But I don't believe a quarterback coming off of a surgery 2 weeks ago can be at 100% in Mateer. And I also believe that Ole Miss probably has one of the better offensive lines that Oklahoma has seen this year. That offensive line of Ole Miss impresses me. And it's because they play with physicality and intensity, and they give their running game time to breathe, which then allows Lane to do what he does. And that's right up the plays and get the big pass. So I'm also taking Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss wins this one by 17. And I understand that it's in Norman, and I understand Boomer Sooner. I get it. I am not of the opinion, though, that Ole Miss should have lost against Georgia. And I don't think they believe they should have lost either. They pissed away too many opportunities in that fourth quarter. Taking Northwestern and Nebraska. Northwestern's opening up a 7.5-point underdog. This is Nebraska's chance for the second week in a row to become bowl eligible, to get to victory number 6. It's at home. I'm taking the Huskers by 17, bouncing back. Now, the biggest thing they got to do is get the ball out of Dylan Raiola's hand. Here's a thought. Run the thing. Run the ball. Run the ball.
Imagine that, yeah.
Run the ball. But I'm taking my Huskers. In fact, I'll take the Huskers. I'll take the Huskers by 20 because it's in Lincoln.
I'll go at least 10, maybe 13, something like that, yeah.
Missouri at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, ladies and gentlemen, has entered the top 10. Put some respect on Vanderbilt's name. This team is much better than anybody, you and me included, Terry, could have ever expected. Vanderbilt's the real deal. Vandy by a field goal at home against Missouri.
After watching this Auburn-Missouri game this weekend, I know that Missouri went into Jordan-Hare and won, but that's not nearly as hard as it used to be. I heard a stat today. There are 3 coaches in the history of Auburn football that have a losing record at home, and Hugh Freeze is one of them. Brian Harsin is one of them, and some guy from like 1930 or something. I don't think Missouri's all that great compared to Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt wins this by double digits.
Yeah, so that's a big number too, Terry. But here's the thing, and we have a couple coaches in this chat tonight, so they can appreciate this as well. When you win, you gain confidence. We've said this about Ohio State's Julian Sayin, a young redshirt freshman quarterback who is backed by 2 things: the best receiving group in the country, that helps. Let's face it. But the number 1 defense in the country is backing him up. Mm-hmm. When you have that sort of play, then you can do what he did against Wisconsin, and score 34 points and just play ball. It's very easy to play ball when you win, and when you know that if you make a mistake, you've got the number 1 defense in the country. Like I said, it also doesn't hurt that he's got 3 guys that are going to go to the NFL that he throws the ball to every Saturday.
Right.
So, not a bad situation to be in. Let's wrap it up with Cigarette Signetti. Kurt.
Basically, the question is pick the number, right?
Yeah. So UCLA has what's his face? The former coach's kid.
Right.
What was the blonde hair?
The guy that got in trouble for the basketball.
Yeah, he looks like Joffrey.
Oh God.
Game of Thrones. Anyway, he looks like Joffrey from Game of Thrones. He's the new offensive coordinator at UCLA. It's not going to matter. This is in Bloomington, which is becoming a place to. Indiana's defense is tough. They stunned
Jerry Neuheisel.
Thank you, Mike Bober. It's Neuheisel.
And his name's Jerry.
Yeah. So Jerry, who looks like Joffrey rather, from Game of Thrones, Joffrey Lannister, as I like to call him, might have had some really good success in the last couple games at UCLA, but you're going into Bloomington. You're going in against a coach who is extremely confident, who worked with Nick Saban, who has a very similar approach that Saban did. The defense stunts and moves. The front line of that defense pushes and pushes and pushes Indiana by 28 at home. Big.
I was going to say 30.
Big.
I mean, they beat was it Wisconsin that they beat by? No, it wasn't Wisconsin. Who did they beat?
Illinois, number 9 Illinois. They beat 56-7 or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, demolished them.
Yep. If they played Nebraska this year, they'd have done the same exact thing they did to them last year. Go Huskers. Let's get bowl eligible this week, boys. Terry, what are we moving on to?
We are moving on to AEW
It's your hot tag.
WrestleDream. There we go. You guys take over because I didn't watch a lick of this.
So WrestleDream, apparently there's been some attendance. We got some guys that went to WrestleDream, so they can help you out, Allison. Long show, 4.5 hours. I guess it's not long for AEW. It's standard.
Yeah, I was gonna say not really. Yeah.
No. As predicted, the main event went the way it went. We'll go ahead and we'll talk about that when you get to it. But what do you want to talk about first?
No, I was just gonna say the same thing. A lot of our friends went to this. It went about how we expected. A ton of multi-man matches. I did not watch most of the 0 hour. I did fall asleep last night while watching this, full disclosure, but I did come back and rewatch it all today. So, do we have individual match slides or
No, just this, and we've
okay?
got the notes have all the
Okay.
matches listed.
So then
Pick one,
Andrew,
whatever
you
you
can
want to
go
talk
through.
about. We
Yeah,
don't
I was
have to
gonna
talk
say
about everything. There's a billion matches.
the 2 matches that stuck out to me. It was Tekla and who did
Jamie
she
Hayter.
wrestle? Jamie Hayter. That was a really good match.
Yeah, that's what I've
Really
heard. I
enjoyed
think
it.
Andrew said that when he was watching.
Yeah.
He texted that to us.
I totally agreed with him. I thought it was a great match. I made the mistake of not realizing that Okada and Takeshita were teaming as a tag team. I thought they were going against each other, and I was all excited. That match was okay. FTR match, okay. Jungle Boy or Jack Perry and Luchasaurus versus the
Young Bucks.
Young Bucks, okay. Samoa Joe versus Hangman was pretty good. And then the last match, so I had a heads up that it was going to be gross. It was gross if you didn't watch it. Darby Allin and Jon Moxley. You don't need to know anything more than
That sounds gross just from the description, especially
there
my quit match.
There were some really good spots. Cesaro threw Darby Allin from the ring above his head onto the announce table. That was pretty impressive. It was a perfect throw, perfectly executed.
Yeah.
But at the end of the match, Darby was getting his ass beat, and then Sting came in. And I will fully admit, I had no idea, so it was pretty great to see him. Yes, I heard a lot of people were upset. Oh, you were tired. Why are you there? Hey, let us live our lives. It's fine. He's not saying he needs 73 last matches again like somebody else we know. Okay?
I had my moment with him in Huntsville where he grabbed my hands and looked into my eyes.
I know.
And I feel betrayed.
I know. I'm sorry.
Good for him.
So surprisingly,
Yes.
I hated Takeshita and Okada against Brodito. I hated it because I love Takeshita and I love Okada.
Yep.
I do not like them as a tag team.
Yeah.
I much rather would prefer to watch them wrestle a best of 7 sort of thing. Who's the best Japanese wrestler in AEW? Get after it, boys. I think I am not a fan of Chris Statlander. I love Tony Storm. Excellent match. Good story. You missed Mercedes Moné wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
So we're wrestling for the Ring of Honor television title for the women's division. And of course, here comes Monet, money Monet with her damn needs another belt. So she's going to win this thing. And they're moving her into Hater now, or not Hater, Statlander. Mercedes Moné is going to beat Chris Statlander for the AEW women's title. And I'm going to vomit when it happens. It's going to just make me mad. Now, the one match you didn't mention, but we've seen it 4 other times. Briscoe and Fletcher was very good. They have, there are wrestlers I can watch because they just work well together. These are 2 of those guys. I'm not an AEW guy. Everybody knows that. But from the standpoint of the way these 2 work together, they bring the best out in each other. And Fletcher, I think the right guy won the match. I really do, because I'd like to think he is the proto star. He is the future of AEW. Yep. My goodness. Heather
bought the Spanish version and still watched it. I have done this before. But luckily, and I wish I had known, I would have told you how to get it handled right away. Yeah.
So I have a fun tidbit about this because I did this one time. Do you guys remember the stores On Cue and Sam Goody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like they sold the videos and stuff, and that's where you got the wrestling videos, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was there, and in the clearance bin, they had a VHS of American Pie, which happens to be one of my favorite movies of all time. What I
Shocking.
did not see was the reason it was $1.99 is it was in Spanish.
Oh goodness.
Or no, it wasn't in Spanish. It was with Spanish subtitles. My bad.
Oh, even better.
Which wasn't so bad, but it was in Spanish subtitles. So I learned some new Spanish words thanks to American
Oh,
Pie.
God. Oh, I did not even think about that. Amazing.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
Jennifer Coolidge, highly underrated as a
She's
female
the
actress.
best. She is
but
the best.
I didn't get to fully watch the Joe and Hangman match. I expect it was good. I saw we get a Samoa Joe turn. Samoa Joe's better as a bad guy anyway. But the real thing is, Samoa Joe a good guy or bad guy? He's been the ultimate tweener since the TNA days. Like, he's never been the guy that, oh, he's a babyface. Oh. No, the crowd is chanting, Joe's going to kill you. Like, so he's not a babyface. All right, I got to the main event. I guess it was the main event, which is also gross. You put this on last, but you had to put this on last because you tried to waterboard Darby Allin. So a couple things on this. Number one, as I've mentioned the last couple weeks in a row, Darby Allin is definitely Kenny from South Park, AEW's version. And you bastards, you killed him. Number two, attempted murder is not professional wrestling. I just want you all to know, attempted murder, not professional wrestling. So when they start putting Darby in the aquarium or whatever that was, trying to drown him, and they got the taser out and all this other stuff, like, think about this psychologically. We're all wrestling fans. A taser does what? It paralyzes or, subdues you.
Right.
How are you supposed to say I quit if you're unconscious? That's what a taser will do. Like, psychologically, it doesn't even make sense. Oh, we're gonna break out the skewers and we're gonna put them in his fingernail.
Stop talking about it.
Like, gross. Like, what's wrong with you? And then, of course, 38 seconds into the match, we're bleeding because this is Moxley and Darby.
Yes.
Anyway, good for Sting showing up. It's always a nice surprise when he's there. I don't think, looking at this card, I don't think, and anybody can agree, or disagree. Anybody can add what they want. I don't think any of these matches had any sort of surprise. Just my opinion. Meaning the outcome.
Well, actually, I will admit I was surprised that the way the Mox Darby Allin match ended.
I was not, because, I'm talking about the outcome, though. I didn't think Darby Allin was going to lose back-to-back. He lost the
see, I did.
I don't think he was going to lose the I Quit match. Because how do you make Darby Allin quit? Like, there's another psychological problem with an I Quit match. Moxley has quit twice in his career that I know of, and those were both the Texas Death matches against Hangman Adam Page. How do you get someone like Darby Allin to quit? Psychologically, that is a problem creatively with your wrestling match. If it's a last man standing match, makes much more sense psychologically, because Darby's still not going to quit. But if you knock him out with a cinder block,
makes sense.
That's it,
Because this is his persona. You're right. His persona sets up better for a last man standing match than it does an I Quit, because he puts himself through so much all the time. Why would he be the guy to quit?
Absolutely.
And that was kind of my point. But anyway, what I saw in depth, because a lot of this I watched on social, but I have started to watch the pay-per-view, like the Hurt Syndicate versus light-skinned MJF and his crowd. I could care less about Ricochet and whatever their names are, and the Hurt Syndicate. Like, the Hurt Syndicate is over. They're wrestling for the Trios title Wednesday against Joe and the group. Tekla was very good. Tekla Hater was very good. Yeah. And because you don't hear it often enough, Allison, and we'll move on, I thought that the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express was actually a very good match. Choreographed,
but still good.
But good, yes. Well executed. And then you have the Don Callis family. Okay, my dog stomped harder than Lance Archer did on Kenny Omega. Like, what are you doing? Like when they're mad and they're pouting, Molly's fat self stomps down my hallway better than Kenny Omega got stomped on by Lance Archer. So we'll play which one of these things is not like the other. Takeshita, Okada, Allen, Fletcher, Lance Hoyt, Lance Archer, whatever you want to call him. He's horrible. So, but the Don Callis family, they even said it has like 20 members. Oh, and by the way, on the match, because now you got me going. On the match with Jurassic Express and the Bucks, Tony and Excalibur are trying to sell Luchasaurus as like one of the best big men in wrestling. What? What? This is a dinosaur. It's a terrible gimmick.
Look, he's great. He is a good wrestler, though, and he's a wonderful man, and he's smart, and he's nice.
He's mediocre wrestler.
Nah.
He's mediocre. He's mid. But speaking of mid, no MJF on this show.
No, definitely not. No, definitely noticeable.
So, anyway, I mean, everything I saw so far, I mean, I'd give the pay-per-view a thumbs up, but that's never the problem with AEW. It's how they get to it and how they go from it.
Correct. Yep.
All right, calm down.
He pretends to be a dinosaur. How is he going to be yummy? Get the hell out of here.
So that was WrestleDream. The next thing we'll talk about with wrestling, I guess, is Saturday night's main event coming up on November 1st. Not a lot known about that, just a lot of rumored matches. Seth Rollins and CM Punk, Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill, Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu. But we don't know anything for sure. So we'll talk about that more next week.
Yeah, that'll be fine. The rumor is, though, that Rollins is really hurt, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Number one contender. So apparently he hurt his shoulder. So we're going to give Saudi Phil the world title. I'm going to have lots to say about this. What's next, Jerry?
Well, we are celebrating the Major League Baseball playoffs with a historic baseball player nicknames top 10 list.
All right. All Yankees all the time.
Bober, buckle up, baby, because Allison is ready. I warned everybody on social media that she is ready. Allison, would you like to explain your process of the 178 suggestions?
Yeah.
How did you land on your own list?
My list was gone by picking 15 and then putting 10 Yankees first because fuck everybody else. Sorry, that's the way it was.
Good thing we got a lot of folks voting on these.
Yeah.
So, Bober's back. Apparently, he
didn't watch WrestleDream yet, so he dropped out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Bober, buckle up. Allison just said.
Oh, you are the worst, Bober. The worst.
Oh.
I have my Yankees cup today, Allison. Listen. This is the way I did it, and Terry can tell how he did it. So genuinely speaking, and thank you all for who did vote it. You saw how big this list was. Yeah. There was a lot of nicknames, and to Bober's point, because it is a fair point, there are a lot of nicknames just for the sake of having a nickname, and then there are the really good nicknames. Yeah. I narrowed this down, the original list, to 46 options. No kidding.
Oh, God.
And then I voted 21 options on the one that we're going to go through tonight.
Okay.
21 options. Does the name fit the player, what they did, and their contributions to the game? Yep. That's how I ranked 1 through 10.
Oh, so yeah. So I didn't say this. I did not put people who like Miggy, which is short for Miguel. Sorry, that's not.
I was really careful. I took some of those off before even the first list of 200. But like A-Rod, I thought,
that's
a little bit better than that, right? Yeah. So it was a little bit better. I didn't put Babe for Babe Ruth.
Well, that's different,
name, right?
No.
George.
It is what people call him. Nobody calls him George
because it's a nickname.
Well, nobody calls him George, though.
George Herman Ruth.
Thank you very much. Yeah. All right, let's do this. This is going to be
Anyway,
great. for you.
before we get to who just missed the list,
Okay.
we did promise a friend, and I believe she's still in the audience, asking about if guys are yummy.
Yeah.
So
Not
Amy
a
wanted an explanation for the Duke of Flatbush. So two things came together for the Duke of Flatbush. For those that don't know, that's Duke Snyder. Duke is not his real name. His real name is Edwin Snyder. And when he was a child, his father started naming him Duke because he bossed everybody around. And he called him Duke, and that became his name. And Flatbush, for those who don't know, New York City is such a giant place that they not only have boroughs, but inside those boroughs, they have these named neighborhoods. Flatbush is a neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York, where Ebbets Field was built. And that's where the Dodgers played when they were in Brooklyn.
The Dodgers.
So the Duke of Flatbush, it was coined by, I got some of these, I don't think I have it. In the early 1950s, they started calling them the Duke of Flatbush.
The Duke I'm familiar with is out of Major League, and he's not wasting any time. He's going to the Duke. The Duke threw on his own mother in a game once.
Oh man, that reminds me. There's this comedian guy. He's passed away a few years ago. Tim Wilson had this song called "Church League Softball Fist Fight." Go look that up. That's pretty good.
I'm gonna look that up. That's great.
Oh, just the title, and I could believe it.
I know.
I was at Walmart today after church. Y'all know how that goes.
Oh,
Slow walkers. People don't know how to put carts back correctly, but that has nothing to do with baseball nicknames.
No,
Terry, what did not make the list?
All right, these four are tremendous nicknames, and you're going to be shocked that they didn't make the list.
Okay, you all suck. You're all the worst. Just understand that.
The Mick for Mickey Mantle, the Professor for Greg Maddux, the Say Hey Kid for Willie Mays, and the Yankee Clipper, Joe DiMaggio.
How?
So
there's some good ones above here. I mean,
there's some really good ones above here. I will say this: the Professor was my number 2 or 3 on the list.
That tells you how many people we have that vote.
The reason Greg
Professor, but below 10.
The reason Greg Maddux works as the Professor is he was probably the most cerebral pitcher the basketball game has ever seen. The man threw 78 pitches in a complete game one time. And ain't nobody that did it better than him. But I bet you stupid Mad Dog's on the list, which annoys the shit out of me. Because the Professor is a much better nickname. For DiMaggio, Joe D, the Yankee Clipper, who cares? That nickname sucks. The Say Hey Kid, yeah, all right. And the Mick, his name is Mickey. Okay.
Fair.
His name
Let
is
me
Mickey.
explain. All right, let me explain a little bit about the Yankee Clipper, and maybe it's something you didn't know. Okay. So the origin of the nickname was DiMaggio's graceful style and his famous, and by a famous, hold on. Let me read before I start spouting stuff out. So there was a 19th century ship called a clipper, and it moved gracefully, and it was very fast. And Joe DiMaggio moved gracefully and was very fast. And they said that he moved like a clipper ship, and he was the Yankee Clipper because
he
of
had
that.
to. He scored Marilyn Monroe. Come on.
To Terry's point, he won double-digit World Series, and he had the hits record till Pete Rose broke it. Consecutive hits record. Games with a hit. I think it was 56.
He's also got the minor league record for that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Joe DiMaggio won, I believe, 10 World Series with the Yankees. So he was around a long time. And he went to the war. He went to World War II.
Right. A lot of these guys
disrupted all of baseball. Now, I love Mickey Mantle, don't get me wrong. But his name is Mickey.
This is kind of the same. This is a little bit better. I mean, this was my dad's favorite player, even though he was in Alabama. This is just a little bit above Schmaltzy and Glav to me. This is basically his name shortened.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then the Say Hey Kid, I mean, Willie Mays, but
I mean, Willie Mays is great. I don't know that I love the nickname.
no, I don't think that's why I didn't vote it, because Willie Mays is a phenomenal baseball player, but you could have come up with a better nickname.
Right. All right, let's go to the top 10. Number 10, Sandman Mariano Rivera.
What?
Oh my God.
Well,
So I knew this was coming up early,
Oh.
and I knew Andrew expected it to be the closer of the list.
Number 1 with a bullet, the Sandman, the greatest closer in the history of baseball. Over 600 saves, unanimously voted to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Comes out to Metallica's Enter Sandman. There is not a better story told between his nickname, his song, his entrance, and his aura. You are all incorrect. All of you.
Yeah, what Andrew said. I mean, there's nobody more iconic with his nickname. I have to agree with the song, with everything. Makes no sense that it's this low, but okay.
And the greatest closer in the history of baseball.
All time. Yeah.
Baseball doesn't have those anymore. Nobody's going to ever see 600
No.
saves in their career ever again.
Bober, fight me. It is absolutely biased,
Bober,
but
I
he's
just
also
laid the case
Don't make
out
it so
without-
fair.
smart.
I just laid a case out that you can't poke a hole in
No.
talking about Yankee bias. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, anyway, number 9, Terry, before I have a
Okay.
stroke.
Number 9, Hammer and Hank,
It's a
Henry
good one.
Aaron, Hank Aaron, up until the juiced arms and baseballs, Hank Aaron was the home run leader and never hit 50 in a season.
But that's
Oh.
what makes this a great nickname.
Yeah, Hank
Exactly.
is his nickname.
Hammering.
Hammering
is
Hank,
his
though.
nickname.
Hank is his nickname.
Oh, God.
Henry is his government name.
Oh my God. We're gonna
did
have
not vote.
issues.
I did not vote for Hammer and Hank.
I didn't either, actually. So, but I just can't hate on it.
Bober even says not the best nickname. Well, we're glad we
Bober's
have
a jerk. Bober's a
Considering
jerk,
you
and we're
think-
not talking to him anymore.
Considering you think that Sandman doesn't belong at number 1.
Can't.
What's number 8, Terry?
Number 8, the big unit, Randy Johnson.
Y'all wrong. This was number 2. He could never be the big unit in 2025 because you're all a bunch of perverts. But back in the 90s,
God,
the
yeah.
6'7", 6'8" pitcher from the Mariners killed a bird with a 4-seam fastball. This is the guy nobody wanted to see standing on the mound. And again, you're all wrong. I don't see 6 or 7 other options after you put the Sandman in his rightful place that the big unit does not occupy. You guys are absolutely wrong.
Wow,
And
Amy
yes.
is in a mood tonight.
The big unit, that's what he said. I mean, seriously.
I love you, Amy, so
So
much.
listen,
Just
so
remember.
do you guys want to hear a story that may or may not be true based on the fact that I got it from ChatGPT?
Yes.
Okay. So Montreal Expo spring training 1988. Johnson collided with teammate Tim Rock Raines while running wind sprints, and Raines looked up from the ground, saw the skyscraper of a rookie looming over him, and said, "You're a big unit, aren't you?" And that's where the name came from. I don't know if it's
Alright.
true, but it's a great story, and
Great
ChatGPT told me about it.
Well, and like I said, one of the best and most intimidating pitchers ever
Yeah.
to take the mound. It was fired or traded rather by the Mariners to Arizona during a game and found out that way they would not extend him and sent him to Arizona where he won the World Series with Kurt Schilling.
I want to talk about it.
Yeah, rah. Yeah. And who did they
We
beat
should have
that
a
year?
whole
Alex?
show about that.
But then he did come to the Yankees, and I know this because after he retired, I got to buy all of the Johnson New York Yankees T-shirts for my kid in every size. So
I think
Oh,
there wasn't there a second baseman that was on the Braves named Johnson that went to the Yankees.
Pondwater Dave, I find that hard to believe because Efren doesn't know what a big unit is, and he's a Dodgers fan. So his favorite has got to be some Japanese guy, last name Otani at this point, because he's a fair weather fan who only mentions his fandom when they're winning.
Number 7,
Number 7.
the kid, Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, the kid, 19 years old, Major League Baseball player.
I mean, can't hate it.
Best swing in baseball, an appropriate nickname, over 650 home runs, and a very long career with the Mariners and the Reds.
Well, one of the big reasons he was called the kid is because he
'Cause
was
of his
his
dad.
father's
Yeah.
teammate at one
Yep.
point, and they hit back-to-back home runs, which is
Yep.
unbelievable.
Yep. Yeah, and Senior played for the Yankees, of course. And
And Griffey
Ken
said,
Griffey Ken Griffey Jr. famously said he would never play for the Yankees.
right. And apparently Vlad Guerrero's son says the same thing, right?
It says, let's go back
Good
to the
Lord.
Oh, I love her so much.
She's just trying to keep the peace. She's afraid I'm a little unruly tonight. But the kid is a fantastic and appropriate nickname for the man who had the prettiest swing in baseball. Also, fun fact for those of you who may not know this, my favorite baseball player of all time, Ken Griffey Jr. Because if you were going to play MLB The Show in 2025 and you were going to create a baseball player, this is who you create.
Yep.
He could run, he could throw, he could defend, and of course he could hit.
Agreed.
All right.
The perfect baseball player. Oh, and by the way, never use steroids, still hit 650 plus home runs.
Bober, I don't know that you're going to like the next one. Number 6, the captain, Derek Jeter.
Number 6.
This is killing me.
Because it's really not a creative nickname, you know? I mean, that's part of it.
But it was, as a Yankee fan, as a longtime Yankee fan, when you say the captain to me, this is who I think of. I don't think of Judge. I don't think of anybody else. It is Derek Jeter.
Yeah, so the captain made like the top 10 for me, but I don't think I ranked him this high because there are better nicknames. But to Allison's point, there ain't but one person anybody thinks of, and it's lovers and haters of Derek Jeter, former girlfriends and everything call him the captain, but 5 World Series championships.
Yeah.
As the captain of the baseball team. So, well, 4 of the 5, I guess. But anyway, yeah, Derek Jeter, undeniably a good nickname.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right. Number 5, the Big Hurt, Frank Thomas.
That's a good one.
Yeah, you can't deny that. This is such a good nickname.
And I had to look up the origin of this one because I was like, tell me he got it at Auburn, but he did not. So those that don't know, he was a tight end for Auburn's football team, but that didn't last long because he was way better at baseball. This came from anybody that's listened or watched the White Sox broadcast on WGN at any point in their life knows that they got this announcer that is just crazy. What is his name? Let's see. I've got it written down here. The announcer, his name is Hawk Harrelson. And he is the one that called him the Big Hurt.
Oh,
good Lord. We might have to ban Amy.
I'm not laughing at you, Terry. I'm laughing at Amy.
Yeah. Yep. She's on fire. The Big Hurt after the big unit. Yep. And yes, Devin, she'll thank you too. That's all I'm gonna say.
Eugenics commercials keeping Frank Thomas popular. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you what. When you were a kid watching him play ball, talk about a power hitter. You know, all it took was, they always say all it takes is one swing, but when he came to the plate, it was just a foregone conclusion that he could change the game. So, and a really good baseball player, honestly.
Well, and he also was a guy that was hitting 320, 330 every year back then when you didn't really have a guy with a lot of power hitting that much. Whew. Anyway, number 4.
Keep going, because if I keep reading Amy's comments, I'm going to lose it.
Charlie Hustle.
Oh, that's a good one.
Rose. Yep. And it's obvious. This picture describes why he's called Charlie Hustle.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't look like the most athletic guy on the field, but I will say this about Pete Rose, aside from the gambling and every other thing he's been accused of after his death, you won't going to find somebody more competitive in his era of baseball. And somebody, Charlie Hustle, effort is the word I always think of Pete Rose with.
Mhm.
I mentioned it when he broke DiMaggio's record for most games with a hit, consecutive games with a hit. It was Pete Rose that did it. Pete Rose is the hits leader in MLB in 2025. It's still Pete Rose. It's not anybody else. So they may never put him in the Hall of Fame, but he had a Hall of Fame career. And he's got a great nickname. And he that nickname he earned.
Yep.
Well, a little bit of a correction. DiMaggio still has the MLB at 56. Pete Rose has the National League at 44.
Or 40. Okay.
Yeah. But here's a story from ChatGPT. And like I said, it comes with a disclaimer because ChatGPT gives you an answer, whether it's correct or not. The story is that during spring training, the first time these guys had seen Pete Rose, it's like in the 60s or something. And he's just busting his ass way more than anybody else. Whitey Ford turns to Mickey Mantle and says, "Look at old Charlie Hustle over there." And that's where the name came from.
All right.
Number
What's number
three, Big Papi, David Ortiz.
We have Boston fans taking this list or something.
Okay. Even I will say this is good and I can't believe I'm going to say this. Probably deserving to be on this list because you don't say David Ortiz. You say Big Papi.
That is true, but it's not better than Sandman.
No, God, no.
Yeah, it's not better than Sandman. But yeah, Big Papi was fun to watch. It was fun to watch Yankees in Boston back then.
It's fun to watch him and A-Rod on
agree
podcast.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
and Jeter, yeah.
And Jeter gets involved too. Jeter kind of plays referee between the two of them, which makes it even better.
But they have fun together, which is amazing to watch. And I've always had a soft spot for Big Papi. He's a big philanthropist. He sends a lot of money home, and does a lot for a lot of people. So can't hate on the man. But yeah, Amy, I know you voted for Big Papi because yeah.
Good Lord, we're gonna uninvite Amy. Anyway,
get that woman some water and a fan. What's number two?
Number two, the Great Bambino, Babe Ruth.
It should be one, but okay. One should also be Babe Ruth. I'm just going to say that right now.
I mean, the Great Bambino.
I had 1 and 2. I'm not joking. I had this one and Sultan of SWAT. 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean,
because there's nothing better. I'm sorry. Go. I can't say anything. Oh my God. Oh wait, no, wrong one. Where is it? Dad said, "What's a Big Papi?" Babe should be number 1 for George Herman Ruth.
Yeah,
agree.
Yeah.
No, if we included Babe, there would be so many other names that we would have to include, and the list was already 200 long.
That is very true. The Great Bambino is a good nickname. I don't know where he got it from. I don't know what a Bambino is, but I know that he hit 714 home runs.
Bambino career. Is a babe in Italian.
Oh, okay.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a baby. Bambino, baby.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, definitely like the bat. Yeah, that's true. Babe Ruth's bat wasn't necessarily a bat that we think of today, but more like a piece of lumber. But died very young, completely memorable, and third on the home run list, rather. So behind Bonds and you mean that wimpy deer? Yeah. I thought you said the Great Bambi.
Oh Lord.
All
right.
Y'all want to see what number 1 is?
I want to see what number 1 is.
Mr. October, Reggie Jackson.
I can't be mad.
It's a great nickname, but this is dating. There are a lot of really good nicknames. Mr. October is definitely a top tier nickname. It's not better than Sandman. It's just not. It's not. I get that Reggie showed up in October, but you actually played. And the thing is, the misnomer for people is he played all year, but the clutch showed up in October, and that's
it's like Jeter also had Mr. November, so
yeah, because the playoffs started stretching out when they started being.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, it does speak to how clutch he was in the playoffs. Is it better than the Great Bambino? No, but fine.
It ain't better than the Sandman either. Neither one of those names are better than the Sandman.
I mean, I don't know. I don't put the Sandman anywhere close to these. I just don't. I don't know.
Well, you're wrong, and
and I probably didn't include the Sandman at all in my book.
Oh Lord!
Again, Yankee bias accounts for 40% of this list. It doesn't though, Bober, because you cannot claim bias on this list when we gave you 142 pared down options.
Yep.
And you just cannot. Where was the Iron Horse? You talk about a phenomenal nickname. Lou Gehrig, the Iron Horse, is not in the top 10 and didn't just miss the list either. And I put it in the top 5. And I know that for a fact because I think Iron Horse, particularly if you know the Lou Gehrig story, is a fantastic nickname.
It is.
But if you don't know the Lou Gehrig story and you just think we're being biased because it's the Yankees, you're incorrect. Because how many other names? Where's the left hand of God on this list, Harry? Where's Sandy Koufax?
On the list. I don't know.
I'm just asking the question, though. Where's the left hand of God? He's not on this list either.
The Christian gentleman.
Catfish Hunter.
Catfish Hunter didn't make this list. So I don't know. Showtime didn't make this list. And it certainly was Showtime 2 nights ago in Los Angeles. So,
Look at Devin said, I started my vows with today I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Did you say today I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth?
Who was Cobra?
It doesn't know. It doesn't matter. There was another Nails was on this list. That was a great name for a baseball player. And I put that one in my top 10 too. I know that.
There was no Wild Thing. No Ricky Vaughn Wild Thing. I would have voted for that.
Yeah, Wild Thing.
All right, let me run it down.
All right, let's do this.
Historic baseball player nicknames as voted on by the listeners of TNA Top 10. Number 10, Sandman. Number 9, Hammer and Hank. Number 8, The Big Unit. Hush, Amy. Number 7, The Kid. Number 6, The Captain. Number 5, The Big Hurt. Number 4, Charlie Hustle. Number 3, Big Poppy. Number 2, The Great Bambino. And number 1, Mr. October, Reggie Jackson.
Ooh, there's another one.
Now she's just being ridiculous.
Amy says, too bad there were players, big unit, bigger unit, and biggest unit. Amy, it's like you're reading my mind.
Okay, moving on to other things. I guess this week on their show, who knows what they're going to be talking about.
I'll repay the favor, Amy. Don't worry. I'll make everything dirty when I comment this week.
Oh my goodness! So Tuesday night, they are on Tuesday nights. Dave says that they're going to talk about his weekend at BIW. And a couple of questions: does AEW go too far? Mm-hmm. And Andrew, you're going to enjoy this last one. Is Mox really the Harley Race of AEW?
Oh, absolutely not. That is some horse shit. I mean, he might smoke cigarettes, but that's where the comparison starts and ends. I am on Dave's side on this. I sent him this thing. Tony Khan made the comparison. John Moxley is our Harley Race or whatever. No, he's not. Absolutely not. You don't know what tough is until you met Harley Race. And Harley Race also did this thing called professional wrestling. I don't know that John Moxley has any idea what professional wrestling is because I said earlier, and I told Dave he's free to use this as well. attempted murder is not professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're into professional wrestling, you should go to Big Time Belts and you should check them out and see about getting yourself a belt, because you can do that for fantasy, graduations, kid got on the honor roll, a participation trophy for New York Yankees fans since they're sitting at home today. You can do any of that with Big Time Belts. And I might get Bober a belt for being the whiniest fan of the TNA Top 10 show, particularly after this episode with the Yankees talk. But Big Time Belts does a fantastic job. Dave never gets it right, but it is high quality and low prices. They're not going to scorch your budget or bury you there at checkout. And they do a fantastic job with what looks realistic. Again, check them out. Big Time Belts. That's the place to go. And they are a friend here, Terry, of the Markout Moments channel.
Correct.
They are. And we will be back next week on Sunday. And I have no clue what our top 10 list is going to be because we have not figured that out yet. Because we are yet again not ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think people have come to expect a certain way we do things around here.
That's right.
And planning publicly is not one of them. Now, we may read the private chat on this show, but we do not plan in advance of things. That'll never happen.
No,
not as long as I'm around.
Nope.
We have standards to uphold. And,
Amen.
you know, that's it.
So we'll think about it. We'll get to you soon with a poll. Oh my God.
Amy's idea.
Let's wrap it up, guys. Great show. Thanks everybody for showing up. Too many people to name in the chat tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, love your people. Tell them you love them. Make it weird. See you next time, everybody.